You are the enemy. Here's how to win. There is a quiet fight happening inside you right now. It is a war of whispers and doubts that plays out in your mind every single day. You feel it when you hit the snooze button on your biggest dreams. You hear it when a new idea sparks and an inner voice quickly says you can't. This conflict is the root of that feeling of being stuck, of watching life pass by while you stand still. We often look for the enemy outside ourselves, in our circumstances, our boss, our past, or plain bad luck. We point fingers everywhere but in the right direction. The shocking truth, the one that will set you free, is this: the main obstacle standing between you and the life you want is not out there. The most cunning, persistent, and dangerous enemy you will ever face is the one living in your own mind. It is the part of you that chooses fear over courage, delay over action, and comfort over growth. This book is your wake-up call and your battle plan. Consider for a moment that you have been unknowingly taking orders from a saboteur hiding within your own head. This saboteur's mission is to keep you small, safe, and sorry. It wins every time you give up, every time you talk yourself out of trying, every time you choose the easy path that leads nowhere. But today that changes. You are the enemy. Here, how to win is not about blame or shame. It is about power and liberation. This book will hand you the map to navigate your inner world, the weapons to fight the negative thoughts, and the strategy to claim victory. We are going to expose the enemy's tricks, build your inner strength, and turn your biggest weakness into your greatest advantage. Get ready to meet the real opponent, understand its tactics, and learn, step by step, how to defeat it for good. The journey to winning your life back starts now. Chapter 1. Meet the enemy in the mirror. Imagine Leo, standing before his bathroom mirror, rehearsing a simple request for a raise. His reflection shows a man in a suit, but the voice in his head is a frantic cartoon character. "They'll laugh you out of the office," it squeals. "Remember when you mispronounced quarterly in that meeting? You're not raise material." Leo's shoulders slump. He adjusts his tie, which suddenly feels like a noose. The confident words he practiced dissolve on his tongue, replaced by a familiar metallic taste of fear. He walks away from the mirror, and away from his chance, defeated before the battle even began. This is not a scene from a movie. This is the invisible war room inside your mind, where your dreams go to be debated, and often destroyed. The enemy is not a monster under the bed. It is the collection of your deepest doubts, your past failures, and your fear of future pain, all mashed together into a voice that sounds exactly like you. It is a master impersonator, and its greatest trick is making you believe its warnings are for your own good. This enemy has many names: your inner critic, your ego, your comfort-seeking brain. Its full-time job is to keep you from any risk, any change, any scenario where you might fail or look foolish. It would rather see you bored and safe than excited and vulnerable. Think of the last time you had a brilliant idea for a project, a business, or even just a difficult conversation. Can you recall the immediate flood of thoughts that followed? That's too hard. You don't have the right skills. What will people think? That is the enemy reporting for duty. It is not there to guide you. It is there to guard a prison of low expectations and unfulfilled potential, where it is the warden. It convinces you the walls are for your protection, not your imprisonment. But you were not born with this voice. It was built, brick by brick, from every time you fell and decided the ground was safer than getting back up. The first step to winning any war is to correctly identify the opponent. You must learn to see the enemy apart from yourself. The real you is the one who dreams, who hopes, who feels that spark of what if. The enemy is the automatic system that tries to douse that spark with a bucket of cold water. Start listening to your own thoughts as if you are eavesdropping on a conversation between two people. One is the visionary, the brave explorer who wants to build a new life. The other is the scared guard, terrified of leaving the castle walls, whispering about dragons and bandits around every corner. Your mission is to notice when the guard is speaking. The simple act of noticing, "Ah, there's the fear talking again," is a revolutionary act. It is like turning on the lights during a scary movie. The monster suddenly looks a lot less real and a lot more like cheap special effects. You do not have to fight this voice head-on right now. You just have to see it for what it is, a defense mechanism that has gotten out of control. It is like a smoke alarm that goes off every time you toast a bagel. Its intention might be to protect you from fire, but its calibration is completely wrong for the life you want to live. Every time you hear that critical, limiting voice, I want you to give it a silly name. Call it the Doomsday Prophet or Professor Panic or Grandmaster of Gloom. Numbing it pulls it out of the shadows and makes it something you can observe, not something you automatically are. This creates a crucial sliver of space between the thought and you. In that space lies your freedom. In that space, you can choose a different response. You are not the voice, you are the one hearing it. This small shift in perspective is your first and most important victory. Think of a time you succeeded at something despite being nervous. Maybe you drove a car for the first time, gave a presentation, or asked someone on a date. In that moment, you probably heard the enemy's screams of protest, but you did it anyway. That means you have already beaten this enemy before. You have proven you can feel the fear and act regardless. The enemy's power is an illusion, a bluff that collapses the moment you call it. Its strategy relies on you never questioning its authority. Your new goal is to become a relentless questioner. When it says you can't, you will learn to ask says who. When it whispers it's too risky, you will learn to ask compared to what? The risk of a life filled with regret. This is how you begin to dismantle its control, one challenge thought at a time. Today, your only job is to become a detective of your own mind. Carry a small notebook or use your phone. For one day, just write down the negative or limiting thoughts that pop up. Don't judge them or argue with them. Just collect the evidence. You will be shocked by how frequent and repetitive they are. This list is not a record of your flaws. It is a map of the enemy's battle plan. It shows its favorite tactics and its weak spots. By the end of the day, you will have taken the enemy who has operated in secret for years and pinned its plans to the wall for everyone to see. This act of exposure cuts its power in half. You have now met the enemy in the mirror. You have seen its face. And knowing is more than half the battle. It is the first step to winning the war. Chapter 2. The Lies You Believe. Maria believed she was just not a math person. This single story, planted by a frustrating grade in 7th grade, dictated her life's path. She avoided science classes, ruled out careers in finance or tech, and felt a flutter of panic any time a restaurant bill needed splitting. This lie became a wall, and she built her entire life on one side of it, never questioning if the wall was even real. One day, helping her 10-year-old nephew with his fractions homework, something clicked. She explained it simply, and he understood. A tiny crack appeared in her decades-old story. We all have walls like Maria's, built from lies we've accepted as absolute truth. These are the false stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we're capable of, and how the world works. They sound like facts. I'm too old to change. I'm not a leader. Good things happen to other people. The enemy feeds you these lies to build a prison you won't try to escape. These lies often start from a single moment of pain or embarrassment. You failed a test, so you became not smart. You got rejected once, so you became unlovable. You tried to speak up and were ignored, so you became not heard. The enemy takes that one event, that one data point, and weaves it into a full-blown identity. It generalizes a temporary situation into a permanent truth. It is a terrible scientist, drawing huge conclusions from tiny, flawed experiments. Think of the stories you carry. Listen for sentences that start with "I always," or "I never," or "I'm the kind of person who." These are the red flags, the banners of the enemy's false kingdom. They feel true because you've repeated them to yourself for years, not because they are based on reality. Your brain treats repeated thoughts as facts, building neural pathways as deep as ruts in a dirt road. Your brain loves a good story because stories make the chaotic world feel predictable and safe. The enemy provides these stories, and even if they are painful, they offer a strange comfort. It is easier to believe I'm just unlucky in love than to face the scary, uncertain work of putting yourself out there again. The lie gives you an excuse, a reason to stop trying. It turns you from a participant in your life into a victim of your story. But here is the secret: you are the author. You have been holding the pen this whole time. You just forgot because the enemy has been dictating the chapters for so long. The moment you realize you can edit the script is the moment you take back your power. You can't change the past event, but you can absolutely change the meaning you assign to it and the story you built upon it. Let's perform a story autopsy. Pick one lie you believe about yourself. Write it down in the center of a page. Now be a lawyer for the defense. What is the actual evidence for this story? List every single proof you can think of. Now be a prosecutor. What is the evidence against it? List every time you did something, however small, that contradicted the lie. For Maria, the evidence for not a math person was one bad grade and a feeling of anxiety. The evidence against it was helping her nephew, balancing her budget every month, and calculating tip at a restaurant. See how flimsy the proof for the lie really is. The case against your limiting belief is always stronger than you think. The enemy relies on you never holding a proper trial. It's time to bring these lies to court and expose them for the frauds they are. Now we write a new story. It must be believable and based on a kernel of truth. Maria's new story couldn't be, "I'm a math genius." That would feel fake. Her new story was, "I am capable of learning the math I need for my life." This was powerful, true, and opened doors. What is your new story? If your lie is, "I'm not creative," your new story could be, "I enjoy finding new ways to solve problems." If your lie is, "I'm a procrastinator," your new story could be, "I am learning to take action on what matters most." Write this new story down. Say it out loud every morning. Your brain will fight it at first. It hates rewiring those deep ruts. But with repetition, the new path will get worn in. The old lie will become the overgrown, unused trail. You are literally reprogramming your identity, one true sentence at a time. Your new story is not a magic spell that changes everything overnight. It is a compass. It will guide your decisions in a new direction. When faced with a challenge that relates to your old lie, you will now pause and ask, "What would someone who believes my new story do?" Maria, when faced with a chance to lead a project with a budget spreadsheet, felt the old panic. But she heard her new story. "I am capable of learning the math I need." So she said yes, and then she found a short online course to prepare. She took action from her new truth, not her old lie. This is how you make the story real. You act as if it is already true. The feelings will follow the actions. Every time you act from your new story, you gather more evidence for it, making it stronger and more real than the old lie ever was. You are not just telling a new story, you are living your way into it. Chapter 3. Your comfort zone is a war zone. Tom had the same routine for 12 years. Wake up at 7:15, same coffee, same commute, same desk, same lunch at his computer, leave at 5:30. It was comfortable, predictable, and safe. It was also a slow, quiet tomb for his ambitions. He dreamed of starting a woodworking business, a passion he shoved into weekends, always telling himself someday, when he had more time, more money, more courage. His comfort zone wasn't a cozy couch. It was a high-security prison where he was both the inmate and the guard. We mistake comfort for happiness, but they are not the same. Comfort is the absence of stress. Happiness is the presence of growth, meaning, and engagement. The enemy has sold you a brilliant lie, that safety is the ultimate goal. It has turned your comfort zone into a war zone where your dreams are held captive, and any attempt to rescue them is met with fierce internal resistance. Your comfort zone is not a physical place. It is a behavioral space where your activities and thoughts fit a pattern that minimizes stress and risk. It feels familiar and easy. The problem is that nothing grows there. Muscles don't get stronger without stress. Skills don't improve without challenge. A life doesn't become extraordinary without venturing into the unknown. The enemy uses your brain's natural desire for efficiency to trap you. Your brain wants to conserve energy, so it prefers automatic, well-practiced routines. Trying something new requires conscious effort and energy, which your brain interprets as a threat, a waste of precious resources. So it sounds the alarm with feelings of anxiety, laziness, and fear whenever you consider stepping out. It's not protecting you from danger, it's protecting you from effort. Think of your comfort zone as a small, dimly lit room. It's warm and you know where every piece of furniture is. You can navigate it with your eyes closed. Outside that room is a vast, brightly lit mansion full of other rooms, rooms of adventure, love, achievement, and discovery. But the doorway is dark and you can't see what's immediately on the other side. The enemy stands at that doorway, describing monsters in the shadows. It would rather you stay in the small, familiar room than risk a stubbed toe in the grand mansion. It has convinced you that the small room is the entire house. Your mission is to realize you are living in a closet when you own a castle. The fear you feel isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign you're at the border of where your life gets interesting. That nervous feeling is the price of admission to a better life. The strategy to win this war is not to make a wild, reckless leap into the unknown. That would trigger every alarm your brain has. The strategy is expansion through micro-steps. You must become a comfort zone explorer. Your goal is to step one single foot over the threshold, into the dim light just outside the door, and then step back. Prove to your brain that the unknown is survivable. For Tom, this didn't mean quitting his job. It meant spending 20 minutes after work researching what a woodworking business would need instead of watching TV. It meant telling one friend about his dream. These were tiny, almost laughably small steps, but each one stretched the walls of his prison. Each one gave his brain new data. See, we did a new thing, we didn't die. It was actually kind of exciting. Your daily assignment is to do one thing that gently stretches your edges. It must be so small that the enemy barely notices. If you're socially anxious, it could be making brief eye contact and smiling at a cashier. If you fear public speaking, it could be recording a 1-minute video of yourself talking about your hobby, just for you. If you're stuck in a routine, take a different route to work. These are your reconnaissance missions. You are gathering intelligence on the territory outside your comfort zone. You are proving to your amygdala, the brain's fear center, that its threat assessment is outdated. With every safe return from a micro-step, you build a new belief. I can handle a little uncertainty. The walls of your comfort zone are elastic. They will stretch to include these new actions, and your world will grow a little bigger. Over time, these micro-steps compound. The area just outside your old prison becomes familiar territory. It gets annexed into your new, larger comfort zone. Then you take a micro-step from this new frontier. Tom's research led to signing up for a small evening craft fair, then to creating 5 pieces to sell, then to his first customer. He didn't leap, he walked, one small, brave step at a time. The enemy's screams grew quieter with each step, drowned out by the sound of his own progress. The war for your potential is won in these daily, tiny battles of expansion. You are not destroying your comfort zone. You are relentlessly, patiently, expanding its borders until it includes the life you truly want to live. The goal is to make the extraordinary feel ordinary, to make the dream feel like home. It starts by stepping 1 inch outside the door you've been guarding for so long. Chapter 4: Your Secret Weapon, Self-Awareness. Sarah was always in a whirlwind of reaction. A critical email would ruin her morning. A traffic jam would spark a fury that lasted hours. She felt like a pinball, slammed by the flippers of daily life, bouncing between frustration, anxiety, and exhaustion. She was living on autopilot, completely unaware of the space between an event and her reaction. One Tuesday, stuck in yet another traffic jam, she had a sudden moment of clarity. She watched her own hand slam the steering wheel. She heard the angry sigh come from her own mouth. In that split second, she saw herself. It was like waking up from a dream. This is the power of self-awareness. It is the ability to see yourself as you are in real time without immediate judgment. It is the ultimate secret weapon, because the enemy cannot operate in the light of conscious observation. It thrives in the dark, automatic reactions of your unconscious mind. Self-awareness is the spotlight of your inner world. Before you turn it on, you are stumbling in the dark, bumping into the same furniture of your bad habits and knee-jerk emotions. The enemy loves the dark. It can whisper, and you'll obey without question. It can trigger a fear, and you'll run without knowing why. Turning on the light of self-awareness changes everything. It allows you to see the enemy's hand on the levers of your mind. You can see the thought that leads to the feeling that leads to the action. This creates a critical pause, a gap in the chain reaction. In that gap, you find your freedom to choose. Sarah, in that traffic jam, saw the chain: stopped car, event, I'm going to be late, this is a disaster. Thought, frustration and anger, feeling, slamming the wheel, action. For the first time, she saw the link between the thought and the slam. Developing this skill is like building a mental muscle. It starts with simple, curious observation. Several times a day, just stop and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Don't try to change it, just name it. I am feeling stressed. I am feeling impatient. I am feeling a low hum of anxiety. Then ask, what thought just passed through my mind? You are not your thoughts and feelings. You are the observer of them. This practice, called mindfulness, is not about emptying your mind. It is about filling it with clarity about what is already there. You are becoming the scientist of your own inner laboratory, calmly nodding data. Subject experienced a surge of cortisol after boss entered the room. Associated thought, I am in trouble. This neutral observation strips the drama and power from the reaction. You can practice this anywhere. While brushing your teeth, feel the brush on your gums, taste the mint, hear the sound. Your mind will wander to your to-do list. The moment you notice it has wandered, that is the moment of self-awareness. Gently bring it back. You have just done a rep for your mental muscle. In a conversation, notice if your mind is planning your response instead of listening. That noticing is self-awareness. When you reach for your phone mindlessly, pause for 1 second and ask, what do I truly need right now? Distraction or something else? These tiny moments of waking up are victories. They are you taking back control of your attention from the enemy who wants it scattered and reactive. Every time you notice, you are telling the enemy, I see you. As you get better, you'll start to catch the enemy's patterns earlier in the chain. You'll feel the first flicker of anxiety and trace it back to a catastrophic thought before it spirals. You'll feel the urge to procrastinate and see the underlying thought. This is too hard, I might fail. With this awareness, you can intervene. You can talk back to the thought with your new, authorial voice. Sarah, the next time she got a critical email, felt the familiar heat rise, but she saw it. She paused. She said to herself, I am having the thought that this email means I'm failing. Is that true, or is it just feedback on one project? That pause allowed her to choose a calm, professional response instead of a defensive one. She stopped being a pinball and started being a player. Self-awareness is your permanent advantage. The enemy can't adapt to it because its power depends on your unconsciousness. The more you practice observing your inner world, the less power your reactions have over you. You will begin to see your triggers, your old stories, and your comfort zone cravings with clear eyes. This is not about becoming a cold, emotionless robot. It is about becoming a wise, responsive human. It is about feeling the anger but choosing not to slam the wheel. It is about feeling the fear but choosing to take the step anyway. With self-awareness, you are no longer lost in the storm of your mind. You are the calm eye of the hurricane, watching the wind swirl around you, steady and in control. You have turned the lights on. The enemy has nowhere left to hide. Chapter 5. Change your story, change your life. David introduced himself as just a mechanic. It was his opening line, his identity, his story. He fixed cars, collected a paycheck, and went home. He loved solving mechanical puzzles and teaching apprentices, but his story didn't have room for that. Just a mechanic felt small, like a final sentence. One day, a customer, an older woman, thanked him not just for the repair, but for explaining the problem so clearly she felt empowered. She called him a great teacher. That phrase hit David like a lightning bolt. It didn't fit the story of just a mechanic, but it felt truer to the energy he brought to his work. Your story is the operating system for your life. The enemy installed a version full of bugs and limitations. Change your story, change your life is about doing a complete system upgrade. You are not editing a sentence. You are rewriting the code that runs your every decision. Your current story is a collection of decisions you are no longer consciously making. It runs in the background, filtering your experiences. If your story is "I'm unlucky," you will see every minor setback as proof. If your story is "I'm a natural leader," you will spot and seize opportunities to guide. The enemy's favorite stories are ones of fixed identity. I am X, these feel permanent and unchangeable. I am shy. I am disorganized. I am a procrastinator. The first step in your upgrade is to change the verb. Shift from "I am" to "I sometimes act" or "I have a habit of." I am shy becomes "I sometimes act cautiously in new social situations." This tiny language shift is a seismic psychological shift. It moves the trait from your core identity to your behavior, and behavior can be changed. You are not a statue. You are a river, constantly flowing and reshaping. Now, we mine for the gold in your old story. Even the most limiting story has a protective purpose. David's "just a mechanic" story was humble. It protected him from the fear of arrogance or the pressure of bigger expectations. Your "I'm not a leader" story might protect you from the fear of responsibility. Your "I'm too busy" story might protect you from saying no to people. Acknowledge this positive intent, thank it for trying to keep you safe, and then gently tell it its services are no longer required. You are moving from protection to growth. The old story was a shield. You are now choosing a sword to carve a new path. Find the hidden strength in the old tale. David's humility was a strength. His new story wouldn't be "I'm the world's greatest automotive guru." It would be built on that authentic humility combined with his newly recognized skill. Craft your new story. It must be three things: believable, aspirational, and in the present tense. "I am a world-famous billionaire" fails the believable test and will be rejected by your mind. "I am becoming someone who teaches and solves problems through my work" is powerful. David's new story became, "I am a skilled mechanic and a clear teacher who helps people understand their vehicles." Write it down. Say it in the morning. Put it on your mirror. This is not affirmations if you don't believe them. This is declarations of a truth you are choosing to live into. Your brain will resist. It will show you all the evidence for the old story. That's okay. Your job is to act as if the new story is already true, to gather counter-evidence through your actions. Your new story is a compass, not a destination. It guides your daily choices. David, with his new story, started acting differently. He took an extra minute to explain repairs. He volunteered to help train the new apprentice more formally. He saw a flyer for a community college teaching assistant position in auto repair, and heart-pounding applied. He was turned down, but the act of applying itself was a massive action in line with his new story. Every action you take from your new story makes it more real. Did you write, "I am a healthy person but grab junk food"? Pause. What would a healthy person choose? The choice might still be junk food, but now it's a conscious choice, not an autopilot habit. The story is shaping your behavior, and your behavior is proving the story. Over time, the evidence piles up. David got a thank you card from another customer. His boss noticed his training skills. He felt more engaged at work. The new story's neural pathways got stronger. The old story's pathways faded from lack of use. One day, someone asked him what he did. He opened his mouth to say "just a mechanic," but the words that came out were, "I'm a mechanic, and I really enjoy teaching people about how their cars work." He didn't even think about it. The upgrade was complete. The new operating system was running smoothly. Your life follows your story. Change the narrative from one of limits to one of potential, and your world will physically rearrange itself to match. You are the author. Pick up the pen. The next chapter is yours to write, and it starts with a single, powerful sentence. Chapter 6: The Fuel of Fire, Finding Your True Why. Alina ran on a treadmill of shoulds. She should get a promotion. She should buy a nicer car. She should check all the boxes of a successful life. She achieved these things and felt nothing, just a hollow tiredness and a new list of shoulds. Her motivation was external, based on what she thought would earn approval or avoid judgment. It was like trying to power a rocket with a flashlight battery. It sputtered and died under the slightest pressure. Then her father got sick. Spending time with him, she realized how short and precious life was. The shoulds melted away, replaced by one burning question: what do I truly want to build with my time? This question led her to her create things of lasting beauty that made people feel something. For her, that meant leaving marketing to become a potter. Your why is your primal fuel. It is the deep, emotional reason that makes the how possible and the what meaningful. The enemy wants your why to be small, selfish, or fear-based, so it can easily talk you out of it. Your why is not a goal. Lose 20 pounds is a goal. To feel strong and energetic so I can play with my kids without getting tired is a why. Make more money is a goal. To create security for my family so we can have adventures together is a why. The why connects your actions to your core values and your deepest emotions. It taps into something bigger than yourself. When your motivation is tied to a profound why, obstacles become challenges to overcome, not stop signs. Fatigue becomes a sign you're fighting for something important. The enemy's whispers, "This is too hard. Just quit," lose their power because they are drowned out by the roar of your purpose. Finding your why is like discovering the North Star. On a cloudy night, a bad day, you might not see it, but you know it's there, guiding your ship. Find your true why. You must ask why like a relentless 5-year-old. Start with a surface goal. I want to start my own business. Why? To be my own boss. Why? To have freedom and control over my time. Why? So I can design my life around my family and my passions. Why? Because my deepest value is freedom and connection, and I want my life to be a testament to that. Bingo. The true why is rarely the first or second answer. It's the one that makes your heart clench or your eyes tear up. It's the one that feels like a truth you've always known but never said out loud. It often involves contribution, connection, freedom, growth, or love. It's not about acquiring something. It's about becoming someone or contributing something. Your why should scare you a little with its bigness. If it doesn't feel slightly audacious, it's not your true why. It should be big enough that you can't achieve it in a month or a year. It's a direction for a lifetime. For Alina, creating things of lasting beauty that make people feel is a lifelong pursuit. It will fuel 1,000 small actions, wedging clay, learning a new glazing technique, setting up a studio. Her old shoulds gave her burnout. Her new why gives her energy, even when her hands are sore and a pot collapses on the wheel. Because the action is no longer just about the pot, it's about her purpose. Connect your daily tasks to your why. Cleaning your workshop isn't a chore, it's hunting your sanctuary for creation. Studying isn't a grind, it's sharpening your tool to serve your purpose. Write your why down, make it a mantra. Put it where you will see it every day, on your phone's lock screen, on your bathroom mirror. When you face a difficult choice, ask, which option brings me closer to my why? When you feel like quitting, close your eyes and reconnect with the feeling of your why. Imagine the person you will become by living it. Imagine the impact, however small, on others. This is your fuel tank. The enemy will try to siphon this fuel with doubt and distraction. Who are you to do this? It will hiss. Your why is your answer. I am someone who believes in your why. This action is in service of that. This is unbeatable logic. You are no longer just doing a task, you are on a mission. Living from your why transforms everything. It turns work into a calling. It turns struggle into a meaningful chapter of your hero's journey. It attracts people and opportunities aligned with your purpose. Alina's pottery, infused with her why, carried a different energy. People felt it. They didn't just buy a mug, they bought a piece of thoughtful beauty. Her business grew from a whisper to a real success, powered not by shoulds but by soul. Your why is the engine of your life. The enemy wants it to remain undiscovered, so you run on the weak battery of external validation. Finding it is the most important exploration you will ever undertake. Dig deep. Ask why until you hit the bedrock of your being. Then pour that fuel into your tank, start your engine, and get ready to move mountains. Chapter 7. The first move always wins. Alex had a blueprint for a life-changing app in his head. He talked about it for 2 years. He researched, planned, and dreamed. He bought books on coding he never opened. The idea was perfect in his mind, and that was the problem. Starting meant facing the messiness of reality, the possibility that his perfect idea was flawed. So he never wrote the first line of code. His dream lived and died in the planning stage, a victim of tomorrow. The enemy's most powerful weapon against action is the first moment of hesitation. It sells the lie that you need more information, more confidence, more perfect conditions. The truth is that the first move, however small and imperfect, has a magical property. It breaks the spell of inertia. It shifts you from the passive world of thinking to the active world of doing. In that shift, you steal all the momentum from the enemy. Think of your brain as having two modes, planning mode and action mode. They use different neural circuits. Planning mode is comfortable, safe, and full of potential. You can imagine success without risk. Action mode is messy, uncertain, and requires energy. The enemy wants to keep you forever in planning mode. It will offer endless productive preparation to avoid the scary leap into action. Researching is not action. Planning is not action. Discussing is not action. Action is a physical movement that changes something in the real world. Typing the first sentence, making the first phone call, doing the first squat, lacing up your running shoes. The size of the action doesn't matter. The fact that it is real matters immensely. The first move is a declaration of war on stagnation. It tells the enemy, your time is up. The doing starts now. The key is to make the first move so stupidly small that it feels impossible to say no. You are not trying to build the whole app. You are trying to open a blank document and name the file. You are not trying to write a novel. You are trying to write one bad sentence. You are not trying to get fit. You are trying to put on your workout clothes. This is called minimal viable action. It bypasses the enemy's resistance, which is geared up to fight a huge, scary commitment. The enemy scoffs at your tiny action. That's nothing. What's the point? That's exactly what you want. While it's scoffing, you've already done it. And a miraculous thing happens. Once you've taken the first micro step, the second one becomes easier. You've created a tiny bit of momentum. Physics is now on your side. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Set a 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you will only do the dreaded task for 5 minutes. Anyone can do anything for 5 minutes. Set a timer. Start. When the timer goes off, you have permission to stop. But most times you won't want to. You'll have gotten through the initial resistance and be into the flow of the task. The 5-minute rule is a trick on your brain. It's not about the work. It's about winning the battle of starting. The hardest part of any task is priming the pump. Once the water is flowing, it's easy to keep going. Alex's breakthrough came when he committed to writing code for just 5 minutes a day. Day 1, he set up his development environment. Day 2, he wrote a Hello World program. It was trivial, but it was real. The abstract dream in his mind now existed as a file on his computer. The dam had broken. Celebrate the first move like you've won the lottery. Did you put on your running shoes? Do a victory dance? Did you send that difficult email? Give yourself a mental high five. Your brain releases dopamine when you achieve a goal. By making your first move a goal and celebrating it, you wire your brain to associate starting with pleasure, not pain. This is how you build an identity as a doer, a starter. Over time, the resistance weakens. You'll still feel it, but you'll have a library of evidence that proves you can feel it and act anyway. Alex, after a month of 5-minute sessions, found himself regularly working for an hour without noticing. The app was taking shape. The fear of imperfection was still there, but it was now a background noise to the satisfying sound of his keyboard clicking, building something real. The first move always wins because it proves one critical thing to you, that you are in control. Every time you initiate action, you are voting for your own agency. You are telling yourself, I'm the kind of person who starts. This self-concept is more valuable than any single achievement. It compounds over a lifetime. A person who masters the art of the first move will outpace a genius who is stuck in planning mode every single time. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling of motivation. It will never come. The perfect moment is a myth sold by the enemy to keep you paralyzed. The real perfect moment is now, and the perfect action is the smallest one you can take to make your dream tangible. Don't think about the mountain. Just tie your boots. That single act has already placed you on the path to the summit. Chapter 8. Small Wins, Big Victories. Maya looked at her goal, get in shape and run a 5K, and felt overwhelmed. She hadn't exercised in years. The thought of running even 1 mile made her lungs burn in imagination. The gap between her current self and her goal self felt like a canyon, so she did nothing, stuck in the all-or-nothing trap. The enemy loves this trap. It convinces you that if you can't do the big, impressive thing right now, you shouldn't bother at all. Then one evening she put on her sneakers and walked to the end of her street and back. It took 4 minutes. She felt silly, but she did it again the next day. Then she walked for 5 minutes. A week later, she added 30 seconds of jogging. These were not wins in the grand story of running a 5K. They were microscopic, but they were something. And something is the foundation of everything. Small wins are the secret currency of massive change. A small win is any clear, concrete completion of a meaningful task. It's not a vague work on health. It's drink a glass of water first thing this morning. It's not be a better partner. It's give one genuine compliment today. The power of small wins is neurological. Every time you complete a task, your brain releases a shot of dopamine, the feel-good and motivation chemical. This creates a positive feedback loop. Action completion, good feeling, desire for more action. The enemy wants you chasing huge, distant dopamine hits, like a promotion or 50 pounds lost, that are so far away you give up. Small wins give you a daily, sustainable supply of motivational fuel. You are literally chemically training your brain to enjoy the process of progress. Your mission is to engineer small wins into every day. Break every large goal into laughably small next actions. Want to write a book? Your win today is write 100 words. Want to learn guitar? Your win is practice 2 chords for 5 minutes. The size is critical. It must be so small that failure is virtually impossible. This is not about lowering standards. It's about smart strategy. You are building a chain of success. One link is weak, but a chain of hundreds is unbreakable. Maya's chain started with walk to the streetlight. Each link made the next one easier. The canyon to cross didn't get smaller, but she was building a bridge across it, one solid plank at a time. The enemy mocks the plank. You celebrate it because the bridge is made of nothing else. Track your wins visibly. Get a calendar and put a big, satisfying X through each day you complete your small win. This is the don't break the chain method popularized by Jerry Seinfeld for writing jokes. The visual chain becomes a motivator in itself. You won't want to see a broken link. This external tracker takes the focus off your fluctuating feelings and puts it on your consistent actions. Feelings are fickle. A marked calendar is factual evidence of your progress. It becomes a story you can point to. Look, I've done my small win for 18 days in a row. That story builds a new identity. I am someone who follows through. The enemy can't argue with 18 X's on a wall. The compound effect of small wins is where the magic happens. One 100-word writing session is nothing, but 300 days of that is 30,000 words, half a novel. One healthy meal doesn't change your body, but 100 healthy meals transforms it. Maya, after 2 months of her tiny walk-jog increments, found she could jog for 10 minutes straight without stopping. She cried. It wasn't the 5K, but it was a miracle to her. That moment of realization, that small, consistent actions had created a new reality, is a pivotal life experience. You stop believing change requires heroic effort and start trusting the power of the daily deposit. The grand goal becomes inevitable, not because of one giant leap, but because of the undeniable math of consistency. Celebrate every link in the chain. Did you do your 5 minutes of language learning? Acknowledge it, thank yourself. This positive reinforcement is essential. The enemy wants to dismiss these efforts as not enough. You must champion them as everything, because they are. The marathon is won in the daily, unseen miles. The masterpiece is painted one small brushstroke at a time. Your life is built not in the rare, dramatic moments of triumph, but in the quiet, daily moments of choosing your small win over doing nothing. Stack enough small wins, and one day you will look up and be shocked at how far you've come. The mountain is climbed one step at a time. The victory is not just in reaching the peak, but in the powerful, unshakable person you become with every single step you take. Chapter 9. When fear attacks and how to fight back. Ben stood backstage, his hands cold and clammy, his heart hammering a brutal rhythm against his ribs. In 5 minutes, he had to give a keynote speech to 500 people. The enemy was in full roar. You'll forget everything. Your voice will crack. They'll see you're a fraud. Run. This wasn't just nervousness. It was a primal fear attack, a tidal wave threatening to drown him. Fear is the enemy's favorite weapon. It is a biological alarm system designed to keep you alive from physical threats like tigers. The problem is, your brain can't tell the difference between a tiger and a tough conversation, between a cliff and a career risk. It sounds the same blaring siren for both. The enemy hijacks this system to stop you from stepping out of your comfort zone. Your job is not to eliminate fear. That's impossible. Your job is to learn to fight back and move forward while carrying it. First, you must reframe fear. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signpost that reads, something important to you lies this way. You only feel fear about things you care about. Ben was terrified because giving a good speech mattered deeply to his career and his self-image. If he didn't care, he'd feel nothing. See fear as proof of your commitment, not proof of your inadequacy. The sensation in your body, the quickened pulse, the tight stomach, is not weakness. It is your body marshaling energy, preparing you for a peak performance. It's the same energy as excitement, just labeled differently by your mind. The first act of fighting back is to say to yourself, this fear means I'm about to do something that matters. Good. Let's use this energy. When fear attacks, your thinking brain goes offline. You need a simple physical ritual to bring it back. For Ben, it was the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. He looked around. 5 things you can see: the red curtain, a water bottle, a speck on the floor, his notes, a light. 4 things you can feel: the fabric of his suit, his feet in his shoes, the cool air, his own breath. 3 things you can hear: distant murmuring, his own heartbeat, the hum of the lights. 2 things you can smell: backstage dust, his own cologne. 1 thing you can taste: the mint from his gum. This technique forces your brain to engage with the present physical reality, yanking it out of the catastrophic future it was imagining. It tells your amygdala, see, no tiger, we're safe. The panic wave recedes just enough for you to think. Now talk back to the fear with facts, not feelings. The enemy speaks in feelings and absolutes. You'll fail. Your job is to respond with data and probability. Ben asked himself, what is the actual worst-case scenario? I stumble on my words. Has that happened before? Yes. Did I die? No. Did the audience laugh me off the stage? No, they were supportive. He then asked, what's the best-case scenario? I deliver it well and it advances my career. Finally, what's the most likely scenario? I'll be nervous at the start, then find my rhythm and it will be fine. This factual dialogue shrinks the monster back down to its true size. Fear is a terrible futurist. It only predicts disasters. You must be the rational counterweight. The final and most powerful step is to focus on action, not outcome. Fear is obsessed with the result. What if they hate it? You must become obsessed with the very next move. Ben stopped thinking about the speech. He thought only about walking to the podium, then only about placing his notes down, then only about taking a deep breath and looking at a friendly face in the 3rd row, then only about saying his first sentence. By breaking the monumental task into the next immediate, controllable action, you give fear nowhere to hook in. You are too busy doing to be terrified. Action is the antidote to anxiety. You are not waiting for the fear to go away to act. You are acting to make the fear go away. Ben walked on stage. The fear was still there, a buzzing in his veins, but he wasn't listening to it anymore. He was in the sequence of actions. He delivered the speech. It wasn't perfect, but it was strong. The applause was real. Walking off, the fear was gone, replaced by a soaring euphoria, not just from the speech, but from the victory over the internal attack. Every time you face fear and move through it, you do 2 things. You achieve an external goal, and you achieve a far more important internal goal. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fear. You teach the enemy that its loudest weapon has limits. Fear doesn't disappear from your life, but it transforms from a prison warden into a companion on your adventures, a sign that you're living boldly, a feeling you know how to acknowledge, greet, and then walk right past. Chapter 10. The Disciplined Decision. Sam's dream was to write a novel. He waited for inspiration to strike like lightning. Some days it did, and he'd write 3,000 words in a fever. Then weeks would pass with nothing. His manuscript was a collection of brilliant fragments separated by deserts of blank pages. He believed creativity couldn't be forced. The enemy loves this romantic myth. It tells you that motivation is a magical feeling that must be present for you to act. It paints discipline as a grim, joyless grind for robots. This is a lie. Discipline is not the opposite of creativity. It is its guardian. Discipline is the decision you make once, so you don't have to make the hard choice every single time. It is the bridge that carries you from inspiration to finished product. Sam didn't need more inspiration. He needed to make the disciplined decision. Discipline is often misunderstood as punishment or deprivation. That's willpower, and willpower is a finite resource that drains fast. True discipline is a system. It is designing your life so that the right action is the easiest action. It's deciding in advance what you will do and then removing the need to debate it in the moment. Sam made his decision. He would write every weekday from 6:00 a.m. to 7:00 a.m. before work, before the world could interrupt. He didn't decide this each morning. He decided it once on a Sunday and scheduled it like a doctor's appointment. The night before, he set up his laptop on the kitchen table with a blank document open. When the alarm went off at 5:50, the choice wasn't should I write. The choice was simply get up and walk to the table. The system did the heavy lifting. Your environment is your first line of defense in the disciplined decision. The enemy uses friction to stop you. If your goal is to go to the gym but your bag isn't packed and it's across town, the friction is high. The disciplined decision means packing your bag the night before and choosing a gym on your route to work. Make the good behavior easy and the bad behavior hard. Want to read more? Put a book on your pillow in the morning. Want to scroll less? Delete social media apps from your phone and log out on your computer. You are not relying on willpower to resist temptation in a moment of weakness. You are using foresight to make temptation inconvenient. Sam didn't rely on feeling inspired at 6 a.m. He relied on the fact that his writing station was the only thing set up in his quiet kitchen. The second part of the decision is the non-negotiable rule. Your disciplined action must have a very low minimum bar that is non-negotiable. For Sam, the rule was butt in chair, hands on keyboard from 6:00 to 6:05. That's it. He could write one sentence or stare at the cursor for 5 minutes, but he had to be there. The magic of this rule is that it eliminates the negotiation. The enemy loves to negotiate. You're tired, just sleep in today. You don't know what to write, it's pointless. When your rule is non-negotiable, you don't entertain the negotiation. You just execute the first step of the system. 90% of the time, once you're there for 5 minutes, you'll do the work. And on the days you don't, you still kept the habit alive, which is a victory in itself. Discipline compounds just like small wins. The first week is hard. The second week is a little easier. After a month, 6:00 a.m. writing feels as natural as brushing your teeth. You have not become a robot, you have freed up mental energy. The daily debate is gone. The guilt of not doing the work is gone. The space that was occupied by anxiety and negotiation is now occupied by peace and progress. Sam, after 3 months of his system, had a complete first draft. The inspiration still came in flashes, but now it had a reliable container to flow into. The discipline didn't kill his creativity, it gave it a dependable home. He learned that inspiration most often arrives during the work, not before it. You have to show up to meet it. The disciplined decision is ultimately a decision to trust your past, wise self over your present, tempted self. It is a vote for your long-term vision over your short-term comfort. It is not a life sentence to misery, it is a key to freedom. Freedom from the chaos of your moods, freedom from the tyranny of I don't feel like it. Freedom to actually build the things you dream about. Make your disciplined decision today. Pick one area, design the system, remove the friction, set the non-negotiable rule. Then stop deciding. Just follow the plan. The enemy will scream about lost freedom. Smile. You have just won the only freedom that truly matters, the freedom to become the person you know you can be, one disciplined day at a time. Chapter 11. Building an Inner Army. Lena felt alone in her fight. Every day was a slog of trying to be positive, trying to be productive, trying to resist old habits. It was exhausting, like being a general with no troops, fighting every battle herself. She would have a good day, then a bad day would wipe out all progress. She was trying to build a new life with sheer willpower, and willpower always runs out. The enemy loves a solo fight. It can gang up on you when you're tired and isolated. The strategy to win is to stop being a lone soldier and start building an inner army. You need to recruit, train, and deploy powerful allies within your own mind and life. These allies are your habits, your routines, your supportive people, and your environment. Together, they fight for you, even when your conscious will is weak. Your first recruits are keystone habits. These are small, simple practices that, once established, create a ripple effect of positive change throughout your life. For Lena, it was making her bed every morning. It seemed trivial, but this one, tiny, victorious act first thing set a tone of order and accomplishment. It made her more likely to then choose a healthy breakfast over junk food. That energy boost made her more likely to take a walk at lunch. Keystone habits are footholds. They are not the whole mountain climb, but they give you a solid place to stand to begin the ascent. Other keystone habits include a 5-minute morning planning session, a nightly gratitude list, or a weekly review. Find one that feels easy and meaningful. Master it. Let its success spill over into other areas. Next, you need routine infantry. These are the scheduled, non-negotiable blocks of time where your most important work gets done. They are your trained troops, deployed at the same time every day to secure key territory. Lena identified that her creative energy was highest from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. She made this her deep work block. During this time, she turned off notifications, closed her door, and worked on her most important project. This routine wasn't a decision she made daily. It was a standing order for her inner army. The enemy's distractions would attack, but they'd break against the wall of this scheduled routine. Your routines automate positive behavior. You are not fighting to focus. You are simply following the schedule your general self set. No army succeeds without supportive allies. These are the people in your life who believe in your mission. The enemy will try to isolate you, making you feel like you're the only one struggling. You must counter this by deliberately connecting with people who uplift you. Lena joined an online community of aspiring writers. She found a workout buddy. She had one friend she could be brutally honest with about her fears. These allies provide encouragement, accountability, and perspective. They cheer your victories and help you back up after a defeat. They are your reinforcements. Be ruthless in auditing your social circle. Spend less time with energy vampires who drain your resolve and more time with those who fuel your fire. Your environment is your fortress. An army needs a secure base. You must fortify your physical and digital spaces to support your goals, not undermine them. Lena redesigned her workspace to be inviting for writing. She removed clutter. She used website blockers during her deep work block. She stocked her kitchen with healthy snacks. She put her workout clothes by her bed. Every environmental tweak is a defensive wall against the enemy's attacks of distraction and temptation. You are making the right path the path of least resistance. When your environment is aligned with your goals, your inner army spends less energy fighting external chaos and can focus on the real internal battle. Finally, you need a command center, a system to review your progress and adjust your strategy. For Lena, this was a simple Sunday evening ritual. She spent 20 minutes looking at her past week. What went well? Where did the enemy break through? What does the coming week look like? She'd adjust her routines, plan for challenges, and celebrate her army's wins. This weekly review is when the general surveys the battlefield. It turns experiences into wisdom. It prevents you from mindlessly repeating mistakes. It ensures your army is always adapting and improving. With a keystone habit, routine infantry, supportive allies, a fortified environment, and a weekly command center, you are no longer a lone soldier. You are the leader of a powerful, coordinated force. The enemy is now facing an army, and this army fights for you 24/7, turning daily resistance into reliable progress. You are not just fighting a war, you are building a nation within yourself. Chapter 12. Cut the supply lines to doubt. Jake was trying to build confidence as a freelance designer. He'd work hard on a project, feel good about it, and then log onto social media. Scrolling, he'd see other designers' flawless, viral work. Instantly, his own work felt amateurish. He'd read a comment section full of critics tearing apart someone's design and feel a chill of "that could be me." He was trying to build a fire of self-belief while constantly pouring buckets of doubt on it from the outside world. The enemy doesn't just work from within. It uses external supply lines to reinforce its internal siege. These supply lines are the sources of negativity, comparison, and distraction in your life. To win decisively, you must identify and cut these supply lines. You must become the guardian of your own mind's gates. The most toxic supply line is the comparison trap. In the past, you compared yourself to neighbors and colleagues. Now with the internet, you compare your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel 24/7. This is like a soldier trying to march forward while constantly looking sideways at other soldiers. You stumble, you lose your direction. The enemy uses comparison to feed doubt. You're not as good as them. You don't have what they have. Why even try? Your weapon is the conscious decision to compare yourself only to your past self. Take Jake. He started a win folder on his computer. Every time he finished a project, even a small one, he saved it there. When doubt struck, he scrolled through his own progress, from his first shaky designs to his current work. This internal comparison fueled pride and momentum. The second major supply line is negative input. This is the news cycle designed for outrage, the gossipy friend who always has a problem, the comment sections, the critical inner circle. Your brain is a sponge. It absorbs the emotional tone of what it consumes. If you feed it a diet of anger, fear, and cynicism, it will produce those feelings. You must conduct a media diet audit. For 1 week, Jake tracked his input. He realized he spent an hour a day on social media and news sites that left him anxious and inadequate. He didn't cut it out completely, but he set strict limits. He unfollowed accounts that triggered comparison. He scheduled his news check for 10 minutes in the evening, not first thing in the morning. He replaced some scrolling with listening to a motivational podcast or an audiobook on design. He changed the fuel he was putting in his tank. The third supply line is your physical environment's chaos. A cluttered, disorganized space is a constant, low-grade source of stress and distraction. It whispers, "Nothing is under control." It drains the mental energy you need for your real battles. Jake's desk was a monument to chaos. He dedicated a Saturday to a ruthless cleanup. He created a simple, clean workspace with only the tools he needed for his current project. He added a plant and a good lamp. This wasn't just decorating. It was a strategic military operation to secure his home base. The calm of his new environment became a physical supply line of peace and focus, reinforcing his inner resolve instead of depleting it. The fourth and most subtle supply line is the people you allow close. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are your closest people supporters, challengers, and believers? Or are they doubters, dream crushers, and drama magnets? The enemy uses negative people as its spokespersons. Jake had a friend who constantly joked about the instability of freelance work, calling it a risky hobby. Every conversation left Jake feeling shaky. He didn't cut the friend off, but he changed the topic when it veered there. He invested more time in another friend who ran a small business and was full of practical encouragement. You must be the curator of your inner circle. You don't need to end relationships, but you must manage the flow of influence. Spend more time with people who are on a mission themselves. Their energy is contagious. Finally, cut the supply line of unstructured time. Large blocks of empty, unplanned time are an open invitation for the enemy to launch a full-scale assault of procrastination, distraction, and doubt. Boredom is fertile ground for negative thinking. Jake started time-blocking his day, even scheduling leisure and worry time. He gave his mind a job every hour. This structure wasn't a cage. It was a channel that directed his energy toward his goals. When doubt tried to creep in, it found his attention already occupied by a scheduled task. By cutting these 5 external supply lines, comparison, negative input, chaotic environment, draining people, and unstructured time, you starve the enemy's doubt. You create a world around you that constantly supplies your inner army with confidence, clarity, and calm. You stop fighting with one hand tied behind your back. You step onto a battlefield you have prepared to give you every possible advantage. Chapter 13. Turn setbacks into strategy. Riley had saved for a year to launch a small online store. She worked nights, designed the products, built the website. Launch day came. She sold 3 items. A week later, a negative review popped up calling her product cheap and disappointing. She felt crushed. The enemy seized the moment, broadcasting on full volume, "See, I told you, you're not cut out for this. You wasted your time. Give up." A setback is any event that pushes you away from your goal. It is not failure. Failure is giving up. A setback is data. The enemy wants you to interpret that data as a verdict on your worth. Your job is to become a master strategist and interpret it as intelligence about the battlefield. To turn setbacks into strategy, you must learn the art of the tactical pivot. The first rule after a setback is to feel. Don't fuel. It is healthy and human to feel disappointment, frustration, or sadness. Allow yourself to feel it fully, but set a time limit, an hour a day. Wallow intentionally, then stop. What you must not do is fuel the feeling with catastrophic stories. Riley let herself be sad for the evening. She ate ice cream and watched a funny movie. The next morning, she made a rule: no more storytelling about the setback. She wouldn't say, "I'm a failure." She would state the facts. The launch did not meet sales expectations, and we have one critical review. Facts are neutral. Stories are poison. By separating the emotion from the event, you clear the fog of war and can see the situation clearly. Now conduct a battlefield autopsy with ruthless curiosity, not self-blame. Ask 3 questions. 1. What went wrong? Just the facts. Riley looked. The website traffic was low. The review criticized the stitching on one product. 2. What went right? Always ask this. She sold 3 items to strangers. The website didn't crash. She received a nice email from a customer. 3. What did I learn? This is the gold. Riley learned, I need to learn about online advertising. I need a stricter quality check on my stitching. My website works, and some people like my product. This autopsy turns the setback from a tombstone into a treasure map. It shows you where the enemy's defenses are strong and where your own tactics were weak. With this intelligence, you design a new tactical move. A setback exposes a flaw in your plan. A good strategist doesn't abandon the war, they adjust the next attack. Riley's new moves were clear. 1. Take a small online course on Facebook ads. 2. Implement a 3-point quality check for every product. 3. Reach out to the unhappy customer, apologize, and send a revised product. These are not acts of desperation. They are calculated upgrades to her operation. The setback didn't show she shouldn't be in business. It showed exactly how to be better at business. Every piece of critical feedback is a free consulting report pointing directly at your next area of improvement. Next, execute the pivot immediately. Action is the best medicine for the paralysis of a setback. Do not wait for motivation to return. Use your discipline system. The very next day, Riley signed up for the ads course and reviewed her quality process. Taking action, however small, reestablishes your sense of control. It tells the enemy, your attack did not destroy me, it taught me, and now I'm coming back stronger. Momentum is the key. A single action creates a tiny bit of forward motion, which makes the next action easier. You are rebuilding your confidence not with words, but with proof of your own resilience. Finally, reframe the setback as a necessary step. No great story is without a dark night of the soul where the hero seems beaten. This moment is what makes the eventual victory meaningful. Riley's lousy launch wasn't the end of her story. It was the end of her first chapter. It was the necessary lesson she had to learn to write the successful chapters to come. Look back at any major success in your life. You will find a setback that preceded it, a moment you thought was the end, but was actually a crucial turning point. Start seeing your setbacks as proof you are in the game, that you are taking risks worth taking. The enemy wants you to see a closed door. You must train yourself to see it as a redirect to a better door, one you wouldn't have found without the first one slamming in your face. The master strategist knows that losses are where the real strategy is forged. Welcome them, learn from them, and let them guide you to a victory you couldn't have planned from the start. Chapter 14. The Confidence Compound Effect. Leo from Chapter 1, who feared asking for a raise, stood before his mirror again a year later. He was preparing for a different conversation, to pitch himself as the lead for a major new project. The nervous flutter was there, but it was background noise. A stronger, steadier feeling sat in his chest, a quiet certainty. This wasn't arrogant bluster. It was earned confidence, built not in one day, but brick by brick through 100 small victories. Confidence is not something you are born with or without. It is not a light you wait to be switched on. It is a compound effect, the interest earned on the small, brave actions you invest in yourself over time. The enemy sells the myth of fake it till you make it, which often leads to feeling like an imposter. The real formula is build it, and you will become it. Your confidence account grows with every deposit of proven competence. Your first deposits are the micro-wins from Chapter 8. Every time you complete your small, non-negotiable task, you are telling your subconscious, I'm a person who does what I say I will do. This builds self-trust, the foundation of all confidence. Leo didn't start by pitching for a lead role. He started by committing to speak up once in every meeting. He did it. Deposit. He committed to taking on one small extra task outside his comfort zone. He did it. Deposit. He had a difficult conversation with a colleague and survived. Big deposit. Each deposit was tiny, but they were consistent. His brain, which once had a database of evidence for I can't speak up, was slowly building a new, more powerful database for I handle challenges. The next tier of deposits comes from skill acquisition. Confidence is competence remembered. When you get good at something through practice, you have undeniable proof of your own capability. Leo decided the new project required better data analysis. He felt intimidated, but he took an online course, practiced with dummy data, and slowly got the hang of it. The first time he used his new skill in a real meeting to answer a question, he felt a surge of authentic power. He wasn't pretending to know, he knew. Learning a new skill, however small, is a massive confidence deposit because it proves to you that you are capable of growth. You are not a fixed entity. You are a learning machine. The third source of compounding is facing fear from Chapter 9. Every time you feel fear and act anyway, you do two things. You achieve an external result and you achieve an internal victory over your own limitations. This internal victory is a high-yield confidence bond. Leo's first time speaking in a meeting was terrifying. His heart raced, but he did it. The world didn't end. The next time was 10% easier. Each confrontation with fear weakens its power and strengthens your belief in your own courage. You create a track record of resilience. You know in your bones that you can feel scared and still function, still perform. This knowledge is unshakable confidence. As these deposits compound, you begin to internalize a new identity. You stop hopping you're confident and start knowing you are capable because you have a long list of evidence. Leo's story changed from I'm someone who avoids the spotlight to I'm someone who prepares and contributes. This identity shift is everything. You start making choices from this new identity. You volunteer for things the old you would have hidden from. You state your opinions more firmly. You take up more space. This isn't arrogance. It's the natural behavior of someone who trusts their own ability to handle what comes. The enemy's whispers, "Who do you think you are?" are met with a quiet, factual response. "I'm the person who did X, Y, and Z." Finally, confidence allows you to embrace the gap. You become comfortable not knowing everything. The old, unconfident you saw not knowing as a weakness to hide. The new, compound confident you sees it as an opportunity to learn. In his big project pitch, Leo didn't pretend to have all the answers. He said, "My approach would be A and B on point C. I'd need to consult with the finance team, and here's how I'd do that." This was more impressive than bluffing. True confidence is the ability to be transparent about your limits because you are utterly secure in your ability to find solutions. Your confidence account is now so full that a temporary withdrawal of "I don't know" doesn't bankrupt you. You have plenty in reserve. You have built it, and now you have truly become it. Chapter 15. Becoming the general of your life. For months you've been at war. You've met the enemy, learned its tactics, armed yourself with awareness, and fought battles large and small. You've taken ground. Now we arrive at the ultimate objective, total command. Not just winning a battle, but becoming the general of your life. A general does not fight every skirmish. A general surveys the battlefield, sets the grand strategy, deploys resources, and trusts trained officers, your habits, your discipline to execute. The enemy is now a managed threat, a rebel faction, not the ruling government. You are moving from a state of constant reaction to a state of purposeful, calm command. This chapter is about stepping onto the command tower and looking out at the life you are building, the life you are now in charge of. The first duty of a general is clarity of vision. You must know what you are fighting for, not just what you are fighting against. Your why from Chapter 6 is your North Star. But a general also needs a map, specific, tangible objectives for the next campaign. Take time now to define what victory looks like in the key areas of your life: career, health, relationships, personal growth for the next year. Not vague wishes, but clear, measurable objectives. Get promoted to project lead by Q4. Run a half marathon in 6 months. Have one tech-free adventure with my partner per month. This is your strategic plan. The enemy thrived on your fog of war. Your clarity disperses it. Every decision now gets filtered through this question: does this move me toward my strategic objectives? A general delegates to trusted officers. You have built your inner army, your keystone habits, your routines, your supportive environment. These are your officers. Your job is not to micromanage them, but to ensure they are in place and functioning. Trust your morning routine to handle your start. Trust your scheduled deep work blocks to handle your focus. Trust your supportive friend to handle a need for encouragement. You are the strategist, not the foot soldier. When a problem arises, you don't panic and rush into the fray. You assess, which of my officers is best equipped to handle this? My discipline system, my setback strategy. You command from a place of calm resourcefulness, not frantic reactivity. A great general anticipates and plans for setbacks. You know the enemy will launch counteroffensives. You don't hope they won't happen, you expect them and have contingency plans. If your strategic objective is daily exercise, what is your plan for when you travel? If it's deep work, what is your plan for a chaotic week? This is called implementation intention. If setback occurs, then I will execute this pre-planned response. For example, if I feel the urge to procrastinate, then I will use the 5-minute rule. If I get a critical email, then I will use my 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique before responding. By pre-planning your responses, you remain the general, making cool-headed decisions, not the panicked soldier under fire. The general's most important tool is the strategic review. This is your weekly command center meeting, elevated. Every week you review the battlefield. What objectives were advanced? Where did you lose ground? What intelligence did you gather about the enemy, your own triggers and weaknesses? What adjustments to strategy or resources are needed? This review is not self-criticism. It is strategic analysis. It ensures you are learning and adapting faster than the enemy. It keeps you connected to your vision and accountable to your own command. It is the rhythm that turns a series of battles into a winning war campaign. Finally, a general leads with morale. You are in charge of the spirit of your inner army. This means practicing self-compassion. A general who berates his troops for every minor loss creates a mutinous, fearful army. Celebrate the victories, big and small. Learn from the losses without cruelty. Speak to yourself with the respect and firm encouragement you would use with a valued lieutenant. Your inner dialogue becomes your leadership style. We took a hit today, but we held the line. Good work. Tomorrow we adjust and advance. This authoritative yet caring internal voice is the hallmark of true self-command. You are no longer at war with yourself. You are the respected leader of a unified, capable force. The enemy may still whisper from the trees, but it no longer controls the capital. You sit in the command chair. The map is before you. The orders are yours to give. The campaign for your best life is underway, and you are finally, unquestionably in charge. Conclusion: the victor's peace. Look at yourself now. The person who started this book is a stranger, a ghost from a past life. You came in feeling like a prisoner in your own mind, taking orders from a cruel warden you couldn't even see. You leave as the general of your life, the author of your story, the architect of your days. The battle is not over. Growth is a lifelong campaign. But the war for your soul, for your sense of agency, has been decisively won. The enemy, that collection of old fears and false stories, has not vanished. But it has been demoted. It is now a minor official in your inner kingdom, its power checked by your awareness, its lies counteracted by your truth, its attacks planned for by your strategy. You no longer fear it. You manage it. This is the victor's peace. Not a life without challenge, but a life where you know, deep in your bones, that you have the tools, the army, and the will to meet any challenge head-on. Your new mission is clear: to build, to grow, and to win every single day. Winning is no longer a distant fantasy of wealth or fame. Winning is the daily practice of choosing courage over comfort, action over anxiety, and growth over fear. It is the quiet satisfaction of keeping a promise to yourself. It is the energy you have to give to the people you love. It is the project you finish, the habit you keep, the fear you face. This life, your life, is now your masterpiece in progress. You hold the brush. You mix the colors. There will be messy strokes and moments of doubt, but you know how to turn them into part of the art. You are no longer the enemy. You never were. You were just a hero who forgot your own strength. Remember it now. You are the champion. You have the blueprint for victory. The world is your battlefield, and it is waiting for your unique brand of courage. Now go prove it.